So the election now, it's less than a month away.
So today, our money experts weighing in on elections' impact on your investments. We got Dustin Smith from Wealth Enhancement Group joining us this morning. Hey, Dustin, good morning.
Good morning to you.
So we know presidential elections, they can be unsettling. I mean, it can sort of be a continuation of what was. It can be someone new, and sort of change can make people anxious.
Yeah, to say the least, right? And but I think that people need to realize that regardless of whether it's been a Republican or a Democratic president, the markets have tended to move up over time. That's why I'm wearing my red and blue tie today, to try to keep it as impartial as possible.
I'm thinking about, especially during election years, for example, right now, I've seen commercials that have started to resurge again when it comes to gold. There's this uncertainty in the market right now. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people believe that, during an election that, if the person that they don't want to win wins, right, that things may go completely haywire for a while. And so what happens is that people who are very fearful of that, they might start moving their investments out of, let's say, the stock market and into things like perhaps gold or things like cash. And what we have seen, though, is that over time, that's usually not the right thing to do. Historically, if we look back at a typical 60% stock and 40% bond portfolio, over time, there's really no statistical difference of its performance from election years and non-election years, meaning it doesn't really matter if it's an election or not, but we just tend to believe so.
So then do you recommend people not stay on the sidelines during election years, specifically because it's an election year?
Yeah, I mean, as much as possible. So let's be clear, though. So if we're watching the news, I think and reading papers and whatever it might be, is that, I think a lot of people tend to get very fearful about this time, right? And so you need to be thoughtful about your own risk temperament. So if you cannot sleep at night and you don't have a lot of cash in the bank, perhaps moving some of your portfolio to a more conservative portion like cash might be a good thing for you to do for a portion of that, because we really want to try to keep people invested as much as possible, because what we're trying to avoid is people pulling completely out due to fear that they might have, because it's really hard to get back in.
Let's be real, though. I mean, elections do have consequences. We've talked about that, and they have consequences when it comes to your money as well.
Yes, absolutely, and maybe more over the long term if you look at long-term, impact of tax legislation and things along those lines. But immediate impact, maybe not as much as people might believe, especially if they're just trying to compare this party to that party.
Right. It's interesting when Dustin gives us a closer look at the data. All right, Dustin, thank you.